Well, good morning. I'm early. Welcome back to Boulder. Today and yesterday, and always remember that this community, we want to follow each other on Strava. So ECFIT Strength or Aaron Carson, make sure we follow each other on Strava, okay? Because we want to see what each other's doing. If you don't know Jackson, this is Jackson in your place. Lay down. I've actually got him tethered today. So I'm here just a little bit early. It's totally live, unscripted. I think we're getting close to the 100th episode of ECFIT Mobility Monday. And that's really important to me because I think what, more than anything as a coach, my primary objective, A, is to stay on the top of my game academically and learning and understanding and growing as a professional, but also that you guys know that I'm going to show up, that you trust that I'm not in it for anything else other than I'm thankful that you show up on Monday. I'm thankful that you find value, and we want to just keep going and feeling great when you train. And we want Jackson to become a really good dog. So today we went out for a nice run this morning. You can see that on Strava, and he made a friend. So super stoked because he's super athletic, and if he meets other dogs that are not athletic, it doesn't go well because he just plays so hard. So we're working on that, and we've got him on a tether this morning, so I know he's not going to bother me. All right, so first and foremost, a little bit of foam roller time. Mondays are always about resetting the body and getting really excited about training hard this week. So let's get the knee up by the hip, and we want to just foam roll. You can go down into TV time. I call this pose TV time with your upper body. And we want to just get the foam roller perpendicular to the femur and just roll through there. Also on Strava, you might see a little gravel ride that I did yesterday. I have some really good friends that inspire me on a daily basis, and we got out on our bikes. So yeah, it's going to be an every Sunday situation. Hopefully is going to be cycling endurance on Sundays. As golf has kind of found its way, Jackson, go lay down, place. I'm going to have to show him, but at least he can't get all over me. Okay, keep foam rolling all the way down here, this little muscle right here called your VMO. We want to get right on that, okay? Lift the foot up, puts the hip into internal rotation, and we're just going to foam roll. And it's a little spicy if you've been working. Okay, let me just get him. We're going to head to the other side. Jackson, sit, place, good boy. And you stay. All right, so we're going adductors. Bring the knee all the way up to the hip. Bring the foot up. And we're just going to put that hip into internal rotation. And where we're foam rolling are the muscles that decelerate internal rotation. So every landing when you're running is an exercise in how are your hips are they able to internally rotate? So, and that's what helps you get the other leg through in a really beautiful way. So just keep that left foot up. This is totally spicy on me today. It has not felt this bad in a while, or this good maybe, but it's because I had a good ride yesterday. So hopefully you're feeling it too. Usually if I could see you, I could see it in your face that we were doing something we needed to do. On the pain and discomfort scale, we want to make sure that when you're using your foam roller, that you don't go above a 5 or a 6. So it's okay to have a little bit of discomfort from the foam roller, but I don't want you to exceed a 5 or a 6 on a 10 scale, because I think then you're going to get a pain response. And when the tissue gets a pain response, it does exactly the opposite to what we want it to do. Think about it. If I push hard on your hand, if we put our hands up and I push into your hand, what are you going to do? You're going to push back on me. So the harder I push, the harder you're going to push, and then it gets totally elevated, right? To this position of, this is no longer productive. So as you get onto different tissues and different parts of the body, if it's really pissy and it hurts above a 6, Don't keep pushing because then you're just going to piss it off. Okay, so we're on to the lateral part of the hip. This is the actual muscle that initiates the pelvic position in internal rotation when you land. Besides the foot. The foot is always first because it hits the ground first. But the hip has to be able to have that beautiful internal rotation. So we want to spend a little bit of time working the muscles that impact that exact motion and that exact action in performance. All right? So we're working the lateral glute, a little bit of, there's definitely some glute max in there. The primary muscle is going to be glute med. Okay, so we're just working through that. And mine's a little bit achy, pinny, but it's not as bad as this. It's probably because I rode and I didn't run. The running will get you a little bit more in your glutes, I think, than the cycling as far as actual tissue damage. I'm also trying to accumulate time in zone 2. So my intensity, albeit it was a harder ride yesterday for me, because I'm just not as fit as I usually am this time of year. But it's definitely, it wasn't such a push that I have a lot of pain in my glutes. I didn't overuse them for sure. Okay, good. All right, let's get that good boy. What a good boy. Proactive reinforcement. Good. All right, let's put the foam roller down. The next thing I want to work is ankles. So I'm going to grab a couple of weight plates here. Elevate my feet. So you can use a towel. I also have a towel or 2 towels. You can use a towel. You can use a weight plate. Anything that's going to get your toes. You can use a Mobo board. Anything that's going to get your toes 1 to 1.5 inches above your heels. So you can see my feet are now in a position we call dorsiflexion. So all I want you to do is just gentle knee drives. Gentle knee drives. Ankles, calves, posterior tib, soleus. I mean, for relatively small ankles, there's a lot going on in there. So toes are elevated. If you don't have anything to elevate your toes, you don't have to, but this will just make it a little bit more intense. You saw me put 5 weight plates under there and a towel. Tons of tension through my lower leg right now. Left side more than right. Interesting, I broke my right ankle last summer, almost a year ago, and my left ankle took on a lot more work as I was crutching around, and probably the brain reset in such a way that it would, this side took on more load. So it's not shocking to me that this side is tighter. There's always going to be a response. Okay, from right here, let's go into a really wide stance. I'm going to leave that set up because we're going back to it. Heels outside of toes. I want to work on a little bit of breathing. So this is from foundation training. Those of you that come all the time, you know I love foundation training. I'm not going to stop loving it. I love it. Thumbs on your bottom rib, pinkies on your hip bones, push your hips back. This is a measuring stick of the space between the ribs and the hips. I now want you to expand your rib cage laterally and posterior. So as you inhale, I want you to expand your rib cage laterally, and I also want to make your back really big, okay, with breath. So we're filling up the lungs. Ready? And then we're going to exhale through the mouth. Thoracic spine mobility, using the diaphragm, using the muscles of respiration, okay? Heels outside of toes, measuring sticks, push your hips back in through the nose. Good. All right, let's just soften the knees. This position we call third base because it's just like playing the hot corner. So your heels are outside of your calves, your knees are slightly forward, and your butt is way back. From right here, you're going to take your hands, palms forward, push your hands forward, and just the weight of the arms is starting to activate and switch on posterior part of the body, the posterior chain. So right here, you're pushing your hips as far back as they'll go. Your hands are on your knees. As soon as you start to add the weight of the arms, you push your hips back even further and come right back out of that. That's called a founder. This is how I'm getting you into the founder. We want to activate and load the back side of the body so that we can start to mobilize in a much more organized fashion that won't put our bodies at risk. Push the hips back, hands to the front, work that really strong hip hinge, feel that high hamstring, come right back out of it. We got one more of those. Hands on the knees, push the hips back, push the hands forward, weight of the arms allows me to push my hips way back, come right back up and shake that out. The difference between foundation training and yoga is tension. I'm a high performance human. I'm a high performance coach. My whole goal is that my people that follow me and work with me can withstand the very most force they can produce and the very most force they can reduce. So I'm pretty much on fire with golfers, triathletes, runners, cyclists, and truly anybody. You don't even have to do a sport. You could be a high performance human. You want your very best, and I want you to be able to perform at those end ranges. Okay, elevate those toes again. Pull the ribs off the hips. Same decompression strategy. Pull the ribs off the hips with a big breath. Get nice and tall, and we're just going to knee drive. Keep the knees in. Keep the adductors, the inner thigh, anchored and active. So that means your knees are not going out to the outside. They're going in, if anything. In. Couple more. And good. All right, so we've got a couple key principles here going. We know that the adductors, because we foam rolled them first, that's the inner thigh, has to remain active. It also has to be very mobile. It has to be able to move laterally. So we're going to work some lateral gliding. Push your hips back and just come straight back up. Finish in the middle. Don't just be like I'm doing exercise. That's not what we're doing. We want to really focus on every single movement. You push your hips way to the back. I like to put my hands out front because it allows me to push my hips further back. You want to always work that hip hinge. Push the hips back. This knee, we want to keep it biased towards the midline. Push back, come right back out of it. Push back, come right back out of it. Let's go a couple more each side. As we load this side, we want this side to be long. That's going to give us that beautiful hip extension when we run. You haven't seen a lot of videos of me running because I just think I look a certain way when I run. But we've seen beautiful runners. Rinny, run with that long stride. Tim O'Donnell, Taylor Knibb, Rudy Von Berg, all of these guys, Annie Haug, the people that you think you look like them when you run. And it's a beautiful, beautiful vision. Good. Push your hips back. And good. Awesome. Okay, shake that out just a little bit. Let's get these hips open from here now. So grab your foam roller again. We've got the adductors that we really focused on. Foam rolled them first. Then we foam rolled the lateral glute. So we've now foam rolled both of these. Let's foam roll this. So we want to get quad. Okay? He's kind of just staring at me. I don't know if you can see him, but good boy. Have a treat. Good Jackson. It's funny when we're all beings, right? We're human beings. This is Jackson, my canine being. And I know most of you guys, you have dogs, or at least hopefully you like dogs. It's really interesting to watch through them how we might feel. He's so relaxed right now. He had a good run this morning. He had a really wonderful social interaction with another dog. He's pretty complete and happy and relaxed right now. And that is a lesson that we can all take every day. a really good social interaction or two, some really good physical work. We also did that in the sunshine this morning. We saw the sunrise as we went out for our run. So don't underestimate how important those parts of your day are when it comes to performance and when it comes to feeling good. We all know that we perform way better when we're happy and when we're excited and when we're looking forward to things, you know? Okay, so we took a little bit of time to foam roll anterior, front side of the body, lateral, a little bit of the outside of the body, because that's what tends to get tight. Anterior, lateral. That's what tends to get tight. All right? So we always need to take a time. Coming straight at you here, look at my back foot. I'm going to take it out to the side. I'm overemphasizing. Take it out to the side. It put my hip into internal rotation. Now as we do our 90-90 hip stretch, we're going to really emphasize lengthening the outside of the hip and strengthening the inside of the hip. So the left knee is forward, the right hand is outside of the left knee. Come right back, and I'll just decrease that rotation just a little bit. It'll make me more stable. Our 90-90 is 90 degrees on this knee, 90 degrees on that knee. Little bit of internal rotation on the trail leg. Take it across. Keep the ribs off the hips. Decompress your spine. Especially if you're running a lot, you're going to get compressed. You want to become decompressed. I often say to my athletes, if you are not actively decompressing your body, it is in fact compressing. So keep hanging out with me. We'll take care of you. Back hip into a little bit of internal rotation. Foot goes outside of the knee. Right knee in front. And just rotate across and right knee drive. So this is focusing on the hip. Back hip primarily. Good? All right. So then the quad goes down and crosses the knee. So we also want to get that hip angle or that knee angle, a little bit less than 90. So there is less than 90. I'm going to use the wall. You can use some balance, but I don't want your knee way up here. That would tell me you have a tight hip. This would tell me your hip is open. Now we're getting some length through this bottom part of the knee. Some of you won't be able to grab your foot like that. Some of you may need to just go into your 90-90 stretch and decrease your knee angle by elevating your lower leg and then working on it that way. Actually, it would be this way. Right? So there's different ways to work through that knee, but you want to decrease the knee angle. If you can grab your foot, you can grab your foot. Open your belly. And then let's hit the other side. Good. Now I'm coming straight at you. The other thing that can happen when you grab your foot is you can go way out here. If I see that, it tells me that that TFL and the glute med and all the lateral hip complex is tight. When you grab your foot, I want you to be able to pull it down and in. Make sure that that right knee, if you're grabbing your right foot, is behind your left knee. And then just let that go. Do that one more time on the left side and then we'll move on. So we said earlier when we started this, don't rewind, that my left ankle felt tighter than my right, which didn't surprise me because my right ankle was broken a year ago. So when I stand on my right foot, it is not as tight and it is not as stable But every day I can stand and spend time on one foot on my right side, it gets stronger. Open it up. And relax. So don't underestimate. We've actually been taught as fitness professionals and strength coaches that, in fact, injuries from when you were a child can dramatically impact how you have moved your entire life. It's not something we will probably be able to reset, but it's definitely something we can impact and recognize. A good PT or a good strength coach is going to be able to pick that out. It's like, what happened to your left shoulder? Well, when I was a kid, you know, it's kind of fun listening to those. So think about that. Other things, your whole life tells a story in your body. Okay, just open that up now. Knees are together. We're just doing a nice big open book. Nice and relaxed. Nice and relaxed. 3, 4, and 5. 5's good. Let's hit the other side. Knees are up. And we're just trying to open that back arm all the way up. Keep the knees together. And 5. Jackson, release. Jackson, come. Release. Come. Jackson, come. Jackson, come. I don't think he knew he was off the leash. All right. Look how big he's getting, guys. Good boy. He's so sweet. He's a very, very good boy. He's a very, very good boy. We're being patient. We're training him well. Thank you so much for coming for Mobility Monday. I hope that you have a really, really good week. Keep ramping up your training. If you have any pain or any specific areas of concern, you can always email me at Erin@ECFIT Strength. Be happy to put together a program for you. Ultimately, moving is great, but unless you actually take the time to strengthen your body in conjunction with moving it well, it won't last. So movement is great, but you want to be strong, want to find those end ranges. Peace out, you guys. Have a great week. It's a big competition week. Hopefully you're following all that's going on in the world of Taylor Knibb. Make sure you subscribe to her YouTube channel. Inside Scoop, there might be a new video coming out this week. She needs more subscribers. She's amazing. 70.3 world champion. One of my favorite kids. Talk to you soon.